Alright, hello. It is May the 17th, 2017. I'm in my tiny space and I'm about to tell you some tiny observations about it. Things, I've only been in here 2 weeks, but there are things that I have noticed about living this small that I just wanted to share. This was a dream of mine. I've been researching the tiny house movement and different ways of going small, just mainly because it's more financially, it is the only way that I could live on my own without roommates, right in my face, and be able to afford that. I wasn't sure how that was going to come about, so when this place came up on Kijiji, it was a real answer to prayer, and I felt like I'm just so thankful for it. I can't believe how peaceful it is here. It's amazing. And the fact that I can have my rats is just an added bonus. So behind me, you'll see I have a new fridge that has an actual freezer. It's a very low energy fridge, so it doesn't take much power. But I can actually fit quite a lot of stuff into it, which is exactly what I was hoping for. And within phase 2, I'm going to be posting pictures of what's inside my fridge at the beginning of, after I've shopped for groceries, and then possibly at the end of the week, and what to look for as far as keeping me accountable is how empty it is, and what sugary things I have in there. I also might be taking pictures of my van garbage because usually my fridge is generally looking fairly healthy, but where I cheat is often in the car. So the eating portion of phase 2 I think is going to be just as much of a fight as doing the 4 workouts a week challenge that I had to since the beginning of the year. But now that I've been doing that consistently, I'm hoping that I can transfer some of that self-discipline now over to my food, which has always been the hardest part for me, the nutrition. So, observations about living tiny. Everything is within a few steps or within hand's reach. So it makes it very accessible. It also requires it to be a lot more organized, which in some ways is a good thing, because mentally, if you were to ask me, well, where's your tape? Well, right now it's on top of the fridge. And if you were to ask me, where do you keep extra rolls of tape? I could tell you it's in the brown container with the 6 shelves. I think it's the 3rd shelf down. And I don't know how many people would know that, just offhand. Where do you keep your extra tape rolls? Yeah. But here I have an awareness of where everything is, because it is tiny, so everything has a place. And also with that, there's not really a whole lot of room for mess, which actually has surprised me in the fact that there is I have 4 forks, 4 spoons, 4 knives, and 4 plates, and blah blah blah, but I've tended to only just use the one plate and wash it up and then put it back, right? Because I'm only one person, because I don't really have room for dirty dishes, and so I tend to just clean up after every meal, which is good self-discipline again. I do miss the little transitions between, say, the bedroom and the kitchen and the bathroom and all that stuff. It's interesting how mentally, when you're in a place where a room is divided, you can actually, it does affect you psychologically. So you're in the kitchen, so you're there to cook, and then you're in the bedroom, so you're there to more or less to sleep. I was using my bedroom for more than just one purpose at my other house when I was sharing with roommates, because I wanted my own space at times, and so I would do multiple things in my bedroom. But this is a little bit different, not having that transition. I can't just leave my bedroom and say go to the kitchen, like it's just on the other side of the fridge. So it is a different experience that way. Um, there is some things that don't fit along the walls, and so it's a little different for me because I like to have things I like to have an open space, but here I wasn't able to fit everything that I had along the walls because there wasn't a whole lot of wall space. So I do have two things in the center of the room. One is the air conditioner, and the other is this ottoman that actually I've been enjoying in there. It's basically my living room area, the couch. But that is a little different for me. So the setup has to be unique. And that's the strategic part about moving in here, was that everything had a place, and it was like a jigsaw puzzle. If I move one thing, I have to move three things because you know, the way the windows open and how the things fit together in here is it doesn't seem to be, there's not a whole lot of room to move things around based on the plugins and the height of things and how big the space is. There's essentially not a whole lot of room for changing things around, which I'm fine about because heck, I move all the time, so not a big deal. Things like tasks, they seem like when you're moving around, like at least I've discovered that when I move around this tiny space, I seem to have to move slower so that I don't knock things over or you know, like I'm in less of a panic and I'm not moving as quickly as I am in a larger space. So in a way it feels like tasks take longer because I have to like go in, get my item that I need, like my grill for example, plug it in, and then use it, whereas some people would just have that sitting on their counter already plugged in and using it immediately. So it feels like it's slower and that there's more steps to doing things, but in a way I don't know if that's completely true. I don't think it's actually slower, it just feels that way. I am able to make my space my own, which is cool because, again, it's just me in here, so I can make it the way I want it. And that is an awesome plus from having roommates. It does feel a little tight in here on occasion. If I'm spending like more than a couple hours in here, I start to feel like, oh, I just need to switch locations, or I need to like go outside or whatever. So it is motivating me to be outside of this place a little bit more. And yeah, like that's also a good thing. But it does feel a little snug at times. My kitchen is functional and I've been using it. So I'm excited about that. It is a little different having to cart water back and forth. But it hasn't been too bad. The dishes part of it is probably the hardest part, to have enough water and also discard water. To be able to do dishes is a little bit of a challenge. But other than that, I am really loving it here and definitely like being downtown. So that is my Tiny Talks update, when a dream becomes a reality. Things that I was expecting, things that I wasn't expecting, and how it's affecting me. So, alright, more updates to come.